Long time ago, in Lagos, Nigeria, lived two lovers, Amaka and John. Amaka did all she could to sponsor herself and her lover through the university. They have been dating since high school, but immediately they entered 200 level, John lost his parents and almost quit school. But Amaka took the responsibility as John was the only guy she loved so much, and she couldn't bear watching him drop out of school, though she was an orphan herself. She did part-time jobs and illegal gigs just to sponsor herself and John. But on their graduation day, John proposed to her best friend right in front of her, and her world crumbled. It was their graduation day in school, and the white campus was decked with students who were looking proud in their academic gowns, walking around with happy faces. Amaka was among the last group of students to rush into the hallway late, as usual, because of her part time job. Despite her tiredness, she was smiling as she ran into an empty lecture room, dressed in a short but fitting gown and flat shoes. Heels weren't affordable for her. She was always in flat shoes throughout her studentship, and wearing them today on graduation wasn't a problem. She doesn't care about what anyone thinks except John, her lover, and Mercy, her bestie. She got into the empty lecture room, bringing out her own academic gown and cap. She wore them on top her dress as expected. Then she got a mirror to check out her face. She was still checking out her face when her phone beeped, and the smile on her face faded when she saw a reminder from a loan app. Apart from doing part-time jobs to pay for her school fees and also support John, she also took loans, though she didn't tell John about it. She was more than satisfied that they were together, and thank God it is their graduation day. When he gets a job, they can live happily and pay the debts together, she thought. She was still staring at the reminder when someone tapped her shoulder from behind, and she jumped. She grasped when she saw it was Erica, her costmate. Though not totally friends, they just talked randomly, but somehow they know things about each other. "You took a loan?" Erica asked, and Amaka quickly hid her phone. "You saw the reminder?" she asked slowly. "I have been here since some minutes ago." "Amaka, what are you even doing? Working yourself out to pay for John's fees, a full-fledged human being, wasn't enough. And now you borrowed?" Erica asked. I had to pay for her final year fees, and my part-time jobs were going slow. That was why I decided to take out the loan," Amaka replied. "I just wish you can hear how stupid, how annoying you sound right now. Amaka, throughout your stay in this school, you only had 8 blouses, 4 black skirts. Is it even up to 4? 3.5, because one is already looking like an abandoned project. Then 2 trousers and 3 gowns. You have never worn heels. You are always on flat shoes, and you only did it once a day. As Mother Teresa now. I am not even sure Mother Teresa did half of what you have done. All because of a man. Let me even ask you, do you trust him that much? Why are you blindly giving all your life like this?" "Enough!" Amaka shouted. "You know nothing about us, Erica, so stop talking about my John that way." "Oh, Lady Kindness and affectionate lover girl, so sorry I crossed my lane," Erica replied. "By the way, where's he? I have not seen your bestie Mercy too," she asked. Amaka was about to reply When they saw students rushing on the hallway, they exchanged glances and rushed out too. The rush was insane. They kept on hearing, "Someone is proposing. I swear you need to see who is proposing." Proposing to who? Just get there first and see for yourself. You won't believe it. Wait! Someone is proposing? Erica asked. Nobody answered her, and Amaka said, "Let's go and watch," pulling her to join the rushing students. They ran down the hallway till they got to the stairs and climbed down to the auditorium where the proposal is happening. A lot of students were already gathered there, rounding a circle. And of course, you all know they won't be quiet. Few of them were just saying, "Aww," "say yes," and others capturing the moment. Immediately they got there, all eyes turned to Amaka, and she wondered why. "What's happening? Why are they all staring at you?" Erica asked. And surprisingly, the students started making way. Amaka entered the circle through the way they made. Oh my God! She met the shock of her life. She died and woke up. John, our very own John, on his knee in front of Mercy, her bestie. He was already wearing the ring on her finger, and Mercy couldn't stop smiling. Amaka's head banged. Sweat beads appeared on her forehead immediately, and she started feeling cold at the same time. Her throat began quivering. This is definitely a dream. Her John? Not just anyhow random relationship that started from the university gates. Her first love that she worked her life out as an understanding girlfriend just to see him become independent and her bestie? No? John! Mercy! She screamed their names and walked up to them, and John stood to face her. "I am sorry, Amy. I fell in love with Mercy since our first year in the school. But if I had told you, you would have definitely stopped paying my fees, and that's why we had to keep our relationship a secret. Don't worry, when I get a job, I am going to pay all the fees you paid." Amaka's heart fell. Big flow of tears fell from her eyes, and she was shaking, obviously, as she faced Mercy. "How could you?" "How could I?" Mercy cut her off and came closer. "You see, John stopped loving you since, just that you were too blind to see. He has always been mine, but thanks for the fees you paid anyways." Amaka staggered back and started crying. This is the most wicked heartbreak ever by the two people she trusts most. Some of the students started muttering words. "Now wow! What a disgrace! Looking for animals? Take this too. How could they do this? This is totally unfair." That was all Amaka could take before rushing out of the circle in tears. She was still running when the sole of her flat shoes fell off. She had been wearing them since 4 years ago. Maybe it was finally time for the shoes to give up. Her feet began to touch the ground as she ran, the shoes looking pitiful on her legs. Erica walked into the circle, faced the two betrayers and said to them, "Mark my words, you two. No matter how much you both struggle, you will always go down low. For doing this to a girl that loved you dearly, the earth will work against your existence." Mercy gave her a sound slap. She tried returning that slap, but John held her hand. "You are evil," Erica said to him. She had no more than 10 clothes and just one shoe. She ate only once every day. She walked to campus for lectures daily just to save the shuttle money. She lives in one-room apartment and she's owing all because of you. And your thank you is this massive killer heartbreak? She was already at the verge of tears when John said, I will pay her back for everything when I get a job. Stop overreacting. Payback? What about the stress? What about the love? What about the trust? What about the sacrifices? Gosh, you both are worse than demons and karma will surely catch up with you, Erica said. John grabbed Mercy's hand and walked out of the auditorium, ignoring her completely. Erica rushed out too, going after Amaka. That same day, exactly 7 p.m. in Glamour Hotel, room 10 was cutely decorated in different colors, looking adorable as the lights blinked. There was a part of red roses which led to the front where a big cake is sitting in the middle of expensive bottles of wine, and the background of the place was designed with the right wordings. Will you marry me? Michael walked into the room, looking so handsome in his white shirt and black pants. He asked his childhood friend Flora, lighting the candles, Are we ready? And Flora smiled. Aww, my best is looking his best tonight. Always handsome. Stop the unnecessary hype now and answer me, Michael said nervously. And Flora walked to him and asked, Are you scared? See, you are already shaking. Who wouldn't be? I'm about to propose. What if she says no? I will simply die, Michael said fearfully. No? Amara wouldn't want to try that now. You paid her school fees. You took your salary in advance just to prepare all this for her, remember? You don't even have a car, but you bought one for her already, and you have been taking care of her sick mother. She has no reason whatsoever to turn you down. In fact, she will accept it with tears of joy because you are a rare gem, Flora assured. And if she does? Michael asked fearfully again. Blood go just flow for here, oh, Flora replied, and he laughed. No violence here tonight, okay? And Flora said, Sure, I was just joking. Suddenly, they started hearing the sound of approaching huge shoes. Coin, coin, coin. Flora had to run into hiding, and Michael stood at the end of the part of roses where the cake is and wore his best smile. As the door opened, Amara walked in and she stopped at the door. Immediately she saw the decors and the wordings. Michael's fidgets increased at each step she took, and immediately she got to him, he brought the rainbows out of his pocket, and just as he was about to talk, Michael, wait, Amara said, and he looked up slowly. Yes? He smiled, but Amara started crying, shocking him. Amara, he called, and also trying to touch her, but she shifted back. I am so sorry, she sniffed, making his eyes widen. She revealed her left hand, and shockingly, a ring was already sitting there dazzling. I am so sorry, Michael. I thought I would be able to tell you earlier, but I was scared of what you would think of me. She sobbed, and the rainbows fell from him. I fell in love with a businessman just last month, and he proposed to me this night. I couldn't say no because he promised to take care of I and my family forever. I need the money because he is established. And you? You are still depending on salary. I am so sorry, Michael. Sorry about everything. Tears rolled out of Michael's eyes immediately. His arms went down and he fell on his knees straight, shaking too much. Amara, Amma, he whispered, feeling the venomous sting of betrayal so bad. I am so sorry, Michael, Amara said and ran out of the room in tears, leaving him alone. No, no, this can't just be happening. Hip, hip, hip! Hooray! Flora shouted, coming out of her hiding place. But the balloons she was holding fell from her when she saw Michael's condition. Michael! She ran to kneel in front of him, raising his tearing face up. What happened? She asked quietly, but he just kept on crying. Wait! She did what you predicted? She toned you down? Michael nodded painfully. She did what? Flora shouted angrily, rushing out of the room to the parking lot, but couldn't find Amara's car anymore. Damn it! She screamed and rushed back in, but Michael was already gone. Michael! She shouted, rushing out of the room in search of him. Michael went to a bar, and he was the only male left in the bar as it was already late, and he has 5 empty bottles of alcohol in front of him. He was on the 6th and he was dead drunk already, but he was still pouring the alcohol down his throat, drowning himself in the intoxication. The 2 bartenders were staring at him in pity and shaking their heads. Is it heartbreak? What could make a guy drink painfully like this? One of them asked. Look at that one too, the second one said, pointing to a female who was also drinking in the bar. It was Amaka. She was not far from Michael, and she has 8 bottles in front of her already. She is on the 9th. What the hell is wrong with them? The bartenders muttered. If they still order for more after this, we won't sell. Because with what I am seeing, they might die at this rate, the second one said. Amaka suddenly stood up from her seat when she felt the need to pee, but she fell back on the seat immediately. Oh, I feel so heavy. She moaned drunkenly, resting her palms on the table before trying to stand again. Her shoes were out of her feet already, so she was barefoot as she staggered to the bartenders. Where is the pee room? She asked, holding the table for support. You mean restroom? Oh, that way, one of them pointed, and she waved at them drunkenly before going that way, holding the wall to keep herself from falling till she got out of sight. Terrible, the second bar attendant said, and Michael staggered to them too, smiling, and drunkenly asked, Where is the restroom? The bar attendant pointed, and he staggered there too. Amaka in the female restroom had finished her business and was about pulling her panties up when the door opened, and Michael came in rolling his eyes around. Why are you here? He asked senselessly, holding the wall. I should be asking you that question, Amaka replied drunkenly, finally pulling up her panties. She took a step closer to him and smacked him. You are drunk. Michael took his hands off the wall, staggering afterwards, but he held himself from falling. Okay, I guess I'm in the wrong place. He turned to stagger out, but Amaka staggered, and they didn't know when they both fell on themselves. 2 drunk, heartbroken people on themselves. You can imagine the scene. They looked up at themselves slowly, And Amaka asks, do you want to drink me too? Do you want to eat me as well? Don't worry, the pleasure is all mine, Michael replied. The bar attendants were listening to all their conversations. They eventually satisfied themselves without knowing what they were doing. They staggered out with Michael's belt undone, waved at each other, and only God can tell how they managed to arrive their homes unscratched. Not too long, Michael's mom came out of the taxi, walked into Michael's house, met Flora in the living room, and Flora stood up. Thank God you are here, ma. He has been inside since he came back, and he wouldn't even talk to me. Amara really did that? Michael's mom asked calmly. Trust me, ma. I wish I met her when I came out of my hiding place. You should know now. I would have torn her apart. I went to her place, but she has moved out with her younger brother and mom already. Really, the heart of man is deceitful and desperately wicked. I heard the businessman got her a mansion. And Michael's mom said, dropping her bag. So apparently, she used my son. She made his favorite coffee, went to Michael's room, knocked and said, Michael, please open the door. Mommy is here. But no answer came. Michael, let me see your face at least. I promise to make Amara pay. So please open the door. I am here with your coffee. Still no answer came. Flora joined and said calmly, what if God is trying to save you from something more devastating in the nearest future? I know it is not easy, but when one door closes, we need to brace ourselves up so that another can open. Suddenly, Michael opened the door, completely soaked with tears. Son, his mother called. Don't be like this. Mom, Amara made me start liking coffee, and you want me to drink it in this situation? You both are thoughtless. He hopefully hit the cup of coffee. It fell and shattered on the ground. Michael, you can't continue this way. I want to be alone, please, Michael interrupted. He went back in, slamming the door. Flora and Michael's mom looked at themselves and shook their heads. 1 month later, Amaka had gotten over the drama. Not fully though, but at least she felt better. She was preparing to go job hunting because she needed a better offer as she had just 1 week left to pay the loan. And if she fails to do so, you all know the rest story. She put on her shoes, all thanks to Erica who gave her new ones. Her phone beeped on the bed and she rushed to check. A big smile appeared on her face when she saw it was a text from Erica. Have you eaten this morning? Don't tell me you're crying again. She quickly texted back. I ate Eba, and don't worry, no tears anymore. Erica traveled out 1 week after the graduation, and even though they are far from each other, she did a great job in making her smile again after what John and Mercy did. She did always text and call, making sure she ate and all of that. We can easily say she was her savior. She was about to drop the phone and wear her second pair of shoes when she felt like throwing up and her eyes widened. She rushed to the toilet and bent in front of the sink, vomiting for real. She had been feeling this way since last week, and she even vomited last night too, but she has been waving it off. She said, now it is not something to wave off again. Something is definitely wrong with me. She went back to the room and got her phone to go search about her symptoms online. And when she saw it, her thoughts tripled and her eyes widened. No, it can't be. It cannot just be. She rushed out of the house to the nearest pharmacy where she bought a pregnancy test strip. She rushed back home and followed the instructions written on the body of the paper, dropping a pinch of her blood in it. She was shaking as she waited for the results, and she had to close her eyes. 3 minutes later, she opened up her eyes, only to see 2 lines staring at her on the strip, positive. No, no, please, I can't be pregnant. I can't even take care of myself, and now a baby. She started crying for real. I can't be pregnant, she screamed. And suddenly, she wiped her tears with the back of her hands and rushed out of the house, not minding her scattered hair. She boarded a taxi to the bar where it all started. She got in, met the 2 bar attendants. Clearly, she remembered their faces. "Good morning," she greeted. "Morning," they replied, and she asked, "Do you remember me?" "Of course we do. You got drunk that fateful day, went into the restroom, and you committed fornication. It is so hard to forget," one of the bar attendants said. "Sadly, it is me. But the guy, do you know him? Please tell me anything you know about him," she said impatiently. "No, we don't. That was his first time here, and he hasn't come back since then." "What?" Amaka asked. "Any problem?" "I am in big trouble," Amaka replied, shaking. "Wait, it is not what I am thinking, right?" the bartender asked, and she slowly started crying. "It is definitely what you were thinking." "A baby?" the 2 bartenders chorused, and Amaka cried louder. One of them said, "Stop crying now. Nobody died. You can take care of it yourself. And when you meet in the future, you and..." Amaka cut him off by saying, "I can't even take care of myself. Do I look rich? I am poorer than a church rat." "Ah!" they both exclaimed, and one of them said, "You know what? Just drop your number. We'll give you a call whenever he shows up." "You will?" Amaka asked with a little hope. "Sure, we will," they responded, and she quickly wrote her phone number. "Make sure you give me a call, please." "Don't worry, we will," the bar attendants assured. 8 months later, the journey of the 9 months had been an alone thing for Amaka. No one to rely on. She always called the bar to ask about the guy, but the answer was always no, he hasn't showed up yet. Taking care of herself with the pregnancy has been hell, and there were a lot of times she thought about abortion, but she just couldn't do it. She said, "Even if I had to sell by the roadside, then I will gladly do it so I can survive with my baby." Her EDD was fast approaching, and she didn't rest. She was working in a big restaurant with her protruded stomach. She would sit on a chair after attending to so many customers. On this fateful day, she was done with her work and was resting on a chair when her phone rang in her tattered bag. She took it, only to see that it was one of the bar attendants calling. She quickly picked it up with great anticipation. "He's here!" he shouted. Amaka regained her strength immediately, took a taxi, and in no minute she arrived. She smiled when she came down, hoping the meeting would go well. She entered the bar and she was met with smiles from the bar attendants. They pointed at an angle to see him for real. Michael was sitting calmly on a table with a glass of wine in front of him with a laptop which he was so focused on working. She swallowed nervously before taking steps towards his direction. Until she got to him, Michael didn't look up for once. She finally got to him and knocked his table, making him to look up. Surprisingly, he didn't show any sign of surprise on his face. He only gave her a questioning look as to why she knocked the table. Amaka asked slowly, "You remember me, right?" And there was no answer from Michael. She sat in front of him, and Michael kept looking at her. That night, just the two of us in the restroom, I wasn't in my right senses, and Michael cut her off. "Liar! You knew what you were doing. You saw me drunk, and I'm sure you planned to do that and probably push a child on me. Let me guess. You are here to tell me that the baby in your boy's stomach is mine." Amaka swallowed nervously again and said, "I am not a girl like that. Believe me, I wouldn't make such a request in my right senses. I was drunk. You were drunk too." And Michael said, "And you had to take advantage of me. How did we do that if you claim you were drunk? You are obviously a cheap hog who is looking for a man to implicate. What was I even thinking? All your gender are the same." And Amaka asked, "Did you just call me a cheap hog?" "Yes, I said what I said. You purposely did it, and I am so not ready for your lies, okay?" Michael replied coldly and returned to working on his laptop. Tears rushed down Amaka's eyes, and she stood slowly. "Let's go for paternity test then. Take me to any hospital you trust." But Michael kept pressing his laptop buttons unbothered. "Please, I have nowhere else to go. I really can't do this alone. I am a poor orphan, and I don't care," Michael interrupted. "Look, I hate ladies, and as it is right now, I will rather keep a dog than to keep you." He snapped angrily and stood up. Amaka quickly went on her knees and started rubbing her palms together. "Take pity on me." Michael closed his laptop, interrupting her speech. "Give birth, and I'll be here at this same time next year to carry my child. But you lady can go to hell afterwards. I do not trust or want any lady in my life," he said harshly and walked out of the bar. Amaka sat down, crying louder while holding her stomach. The two bar attendants rushed to her, trying to console her, but her cries only got louder. She was still crying when her eyes suddenly widened. A sharp pain struck her abdomen and she gasped, "My stomach! My tummy!" "Your tummy? What's happening?" the bar attendants asked, and before they knew it, blood started coming out. "The baby? Wait, is it tiny?" Amaka's mouth opened wide as the insane labor pains gripped her. "Is it too late to call an ambulance?" the first bar attendant said. "What should we do?" "Chimo!" Amaka cried, and more blood poured out of her. The two guys became blank. as in no idea came to their heads on what to do. And Amaka kept on shouting, making them more confused. And in no time, she baited a cute baby boy. Call the ambulance, the first bar attendant said. And within 30 minutes, Amaka and her baby were already well taken care of in the hospital. 1 year later, just like she came down from the taxi on this same day last year, Amaka came down from the taxi again, but this time holding her baby boy called Shem. She looked at the bar and tears almost came out of her eyes when she remembered she actually gave birth in here. Shem's little hand touched her face and she smiled as she looked at him. Even at such a young age, it was so clear who his father is. He was simply what we call "na my papa born me." Michael was already sitting on the same seat he sat last year, but this time looking richer and more handsome, wearing expensive brands, but his cold face still the same. She greeted the bartenders before walking up to Michael. Michael was shocked immediately he saw Shem, obviously because of the uncanny resemblance. "Here is your son," Amaka said, giving Shem to him slowly. Michael carried him and Shem leaped for joy. "I can say blood at work." And Michael said, "He's damn cheerful." "I think it is over now," Amaka said. Michael ignored her, called in a guy who looks like his PA, and the guy packed his laptop and files on the table and they left the bar together. Shem started crying and Amaka's tears flowed too as she watched Michael take him away. She sat on her spot and the bartenders joined her. "It's okay," they said and started patting her. But she rushed out of the bar when realization hit her that it might take years before she sees her son again. Michael was about entering the car when she pulled him back. "Please, let me spend one more hour with Shem before you take him," she pleaded. "I have work to do," he replied blankly. "Please." "Okay, 30 minutes. I miss him already. Please let me just." "I said I have things to do." "Apparently, I am not as jobless as you are," Michael interrupted. Her arms fell from him in a slow motion. Tears rolled out of her eyes again. "You are heartless," she said hurtfully. "Your gender taught me to be," he replied and entered the car, driving away from her without looking back. "Shame!" Amaka cried out, sitting on the ground. The bartenders rushed out again, and when they saw her, they exchanged glances. "Sorry, Amaka. I know the story can't end like this. Definitely, there is a better future," one of them said. Amaka said, "Shame. Mommy is sorry. I love you so much. I sincerely can't take care of you, and I can't watch you suffer." One more. The bartender consoled her. "Please, stop crying. If it has been destined for you to meet your son again, trust me, you will. The most important thing is that he will take care of him, and you will be at rest knowing that your son will eat healthy and go to school." Amaka looked at the both of them and said, "But you know I am not a bad mother, right? Life just happened, and I wish it was only fair to me." The bar attendants who were consoling her didn't know when they joined in the train of tears. 8 years later, Michael was lying on his bed, very happy with his eyes closed. He said, "This might not be the biggest mansion in Lagos, but it is surely one of the biggest, owned by me, the rich real estate dealer. All the crazy things that happened to me years ago made me even stronger, and it fueled my determination to be rich. See me, I am no longer a salary earner, but now a CEO. Amara, wherever you are, thank you for breaking my heart without pity. And thank you too for making me to hate ladies with every breath in me. He only opened his eyes because of the bright light from a camera. His 9 years old Shem was busy snapping his sleepy face pictures. Hey dad, you can't stand up yet. Just continue sleeping. I need to snap more pictures. I am in an argument with my classmates over whose father looks the best while sleeping, Shem said. Michael sat up immediately and Shem said jokingly, Dad, you can never cooperate, I know. Michael smiled and hugged him. Shem is his life, and pampering him became his hobby since he took him from his mother at 1 year. The mother he doesn't even know her name. You should go and prepare for school, Michael said. Shem ignored him and went downstairs. Michael entered into the bathroom, got prepared for work, came downstairs and was surprised to see Shem playing PS5 game in the living room. Jeez, and why are you not preparing for school? Dad, I am not going today. You are kidding, right? Michael asked sternly. No, I am not. Find my mother, Shem replied and walked upstairs without looking back. Michael sighed and walked to the dining, made tea for himself and began to think. Shem had been asking about his mom since he clocked 5. I had been searching for her since then, but I just don't know how or who to ask, and my son isn't taking it easy. His mood swings are on another level. Few minutes ago, he was snapping pictures of me, and now he's rebelling. Amaka's face appeared in his memory. He closed his eyes and her words began to ring aloud. Please, let me spend 1 hour with Shem before you take him away. He felt so guilty and his day became automatically ruined. Amaka on her part got married to Opeyemi 5 years ago and was still working in the restaurant as she hadn't seen a better offer. Her marriage was nothing short of hell experience because Opeyemi was a psycho. She already had a 3 years old baby girl called Precious for him, but he was in nowhere close to being a good husband or a good father. Amaka only married him when she figured out she can't continue hating men forever, and because she thought she needed a supporter, but she ended up making the biggest mistake of her life. One day, she was so busy at work and returned home late with her daughter. Her husband was sitting in the living room watching the news on TV. And why are you just coming? He asked without looking away from the television. And Amaka replied, I am sorry. I never knew I was going to take long at the restaurant today. Nonsense. I stayed hungry for hours, waiting for you to come. Do you have plans to kill me? He asked and started walking fast towards her. Amaka quickly shifted back, but she still didn't escape the slap he gave her. Daddy, please stop hurting my mommy, Precious said, crying. Opeyemi carried her and said, She deserves it for starving your daddy, Angel, wiping her tears. He then turned to Amaka and said, Now, your punishment is you have to go out there and don't come back till after 1 hour. But the weather is cumulus. It is about to rain, Amaka said. I said, go out! Opeyemi yelled, and Precious started crying again. Amaka rushed out of the house before his hand could reach her. Her phone beeped in her pocket, and she checked the message from a friend. The interview is tomorrow. Trust me, you will get it this time. It is 100% assurance. She smiled with little hope before walking away from the house. She became a timekeeper automatically because she dares not exceed 1 hour or use below 1 hour. The wind became heavier and heavier, and eventually it started raining. She didn't bother to hide, and then shame came out of her mouth. She said, Shame, Wamo, I miss you. Wherever you are now, I know you will surely be living good. Just know that there is no passing day that I don't think about you or miss you. I just wish I am made. She walked down under the rain with mixed feelings. She got so tired and she squatted right by the corner of the road, feeling so cold. And suddenly, a car drove to her from the other end. The car stopped right in front of her. She didn't look up, neither was she scared. At this time, life wasn't worth living, considering what she had been through right from her university days. The heartbreak that she got from John and Mercy. She just said, whatever that wants to happen should happen quick. The full lights remained on as the person came down with an umbrella, walking to her with his right hand tucked in his pants pocket. He got to her and covered her with the umbrella. She could perceive his expensive fragrance and she began to look up. Who could this be? And is there hope for her to meet her son? Let's find out in the next episode. Please like, share, comment and subscribe if you have not done so. You can please support my channel by buying me a super thanks or by buying me a coffee using the link in the description of this channel or on the description of this video. Till I bring the next episode of the story, it is a goodbye from here and God bless you.